Hello YouTube and welcome to GrunfWorks tips section. Today we will be taking a look at Subnautica, a beautiful underwater exploration game that I've been playing for the last week or so, and I've been enjoying it thoroughly. During that time I have uncovered a little bit of do's and don'ts in terms of what you should do and what you shouldn't do during that time. And note some of them would be basic tips for the absolute beginners, while some other tips might be a little bit more, advanced. I'll try to keep spoiler free in terms of, story spoilers, but some spoiler alert that in terms of, vehicles and stuff. But if you're researching on Subnautica, you know that stuff already. Okay, so it will be a total of 10 tips for Subnautica. Tip number 1. For those of you that are just starting, guys, I recommend play on survival. Why? It's not that bad. For those of you just thinking this is another grindy survival game and I will be spending majority of my time just grinding, you're wrong. It's not that bad. In fact, Subnautica is one of the least grindy games I have seen in a long time. Sure, you will need to keep an eye on your O2. You will need to keep an eye on food and water, but it's not really that bad. Also, by skipping food and water, you're skipping a lot of fun game mechanics in Subnautica, such as fishing, farming, which add a lot of immersion of being lost in this truly beautiful alien world. That was tip number 1. Tip number 2. Keep an eye on your O2. Especially when diving deep and into caves and wrecks. This seems like an obvious choice, and I'm pretty sure most of the people will tell me, well, duh. But if you consider it's very easy to get lost in the cave system or wreck when you're not paying attention to your O2 level, the watch your O2 level tip makes a lot more sense. There are few things worse than suffocating an inch of the surface because you just entered the wrong corridor in the wreck you were exploring, which happened to me in my Subnautica playthrough episode, I believe, 4. So, if you haven't seen it, do check it out. Tip number 3. Do catch fish and do catch bladderfish, but for water. Don't cook them. Other fish are better for eating. So at the beginning there is plenty of fish everywhere. While others are good for eating, only the bladderfish is good for giving you water. And until you get some plants or water filtration machine, it will be the only source of clean water, so you do not want to deplete them. I know that there is a way to get the water via the bleach, but come on, do you really want to drink bleach? Tip number 4. Don't disregard the Gravtrap and the Beacon. Pretty early in the game you get the chance to scan fragments of the Gravtrap and Beacon. These two are highly useful, although it's not that obvious the moment you get them. Beacons I will touch on in the next tip. However, Gravtraps are highly useful for 2 purposes. At least, probably multiple, but 2 that I found them useful. One is of course fishing, which is kind of primary use. Deploying a Gravtrap near the bunch of fish will reduce their mobility so that you can make them much easier prey. And sometimes it looks like a very, very fun merry-go-round which you have to chase still. However, it's also highly useful for collecting stalker teeth and some other resources, but stalker teeth are notoriously hard to find on your own, and they will be found near creep vines where stalkers play with metal chunks and stuff. However, if you come to the area where they are doing that, where they're playing with the metal scraps, wait a little and then go and deploy your Gravtrap. Bingo! Easy stalker teeth. Tip number 5. Coming back to the beacons. Use the beacons to mark stuff and also their status. So, what I would recommend, it only costs 1 titanium and 1 copper, so you really don't have an excuse not to have them. First, mark wrecks which are newly found in case you need to come back for it. So let's say that you have dived around it, you found everything there is around it, but you don't have a laser cutter yet. By marking a wreck, you know exactly where it is, you can come back and basically take it. And also, guys, these are reusable. Once you're done with it, you can either choose to pick it up or leave it as is. Tip number 2. Mark biomes with useful resources. Whether it's the grassy plateau that's full of quartz or a cave full of rubies, you do want to mark those, because even when your inventory gets full, you will probably come and revisit. Then the third thing that you want to mark is explored wrecks, and I found that later on, as you explore the wreck, you want to change the color of your beacon to explored, so that when you stroll by, you know, okay, this wreck has already been explored and dealt with. So many times I have passed by and just like, oh yeah, I might need to check this out, and then I realize I explored it like 2-3 episodes ago. And finally, regarding beacons, always have at least one beacon with you, especially when checking life pods. Usually around life pods there are interesting areas, there are interesting stuff, so do carry at least one beacon with you. That was tip number 5. Now, tip number 6. It's also a massive one. Get your base started as soon as possible. Why, you may ask? Multiple reasons. First, you have storage space. Although equipped with everything, your default life pod 5 has very limited storage space. It gets even harder if you try to make portable lockboxes just outside your life pod and just, sifting through them, which one has the correct stuff, and it just gets tedious and messy. A base, which can be literally as small as a single, this tubular section, a single pipe section, will allow you to build lockers that have much bigger space storage capacity that you can actually label yourself. Talking about easy sortable storage. So, craft your habitat builder, make a simple base, and if possible get it powered. Also, powering it will give you an oxygen supply under the waves. Second reason why you want to get started on your base is also build all the devices from the life pod in your base. So fabricator, health kit, maker, and radio. It might sound tedious, but the materials required are quite reasonable, and in a couple of minutes you can completely ditch the need for your life pod and enjoy a well-furnished and equipped base, as I did in my episode 2 of my playthrough. So yes, even build a radio. Do you really want to go all the way up to your life pod to receive broadcasts? Seriously? So, third reason why you want to actually get started on your base as soon as possible is growing food and crafting materials. So, get into farming. But once you discover some plant pots, you can almost completely ditch the need for fishing, and also you can make your life a lot easier by growing some crafting materials. I will be revisiting that in a later tip. Tip number 7. Moonpool and Scanner room are very, very useful. Moonpool, besides looking extremely cool, has a real purpose, recharging and upgrading your vehicles with a vehicle bay add-on, but it also means that you do not need to craft additional power cells for your Seamoth or prawn suit, but just recharge them when they come back home. Also, did I say it looks very cool? Second is the Scanner room, and Scanner room has multiple purpose, but the main one is finding resources. Scanner room is very useful for finding much needed crafting resources. However, it is practically useless without the chip, so make sure you get the chip for the Scanner room ASAP. You can make it in the fabricator in the Scanner room. Second, cameras are a great way to explore the area near the base without danger, but also they have a secondary use. They are the search beacons for finding materials. So by shifting their location, you also shift the potential volume of the materials that you can search. And in my playthrough I actually shoved one of those cameras in the jelly shroom cave biome, which helps me a lot to find lithium and magnetite, which can be sometimes hard to find. Tip number 8. Do not deplete resources near your base, especially early on. Go fishing a little bit further out, pick table coral from other locations rather than in front of your base, and pick all the metal scraps in creepvine forest shall result in less stalkers, which means less stalker teeth when you need it later on. And the main reason for not depleting the resources is you will eventually want to beautify your base with more windows, observatories and whatnot, but at that time you do not want the area around your base to look desolate and barren, now do you? So basically keep the ecosystem around your base and just farm a little bit further out. Speaking of farming, tip number 9. Get farming. Farming serves two important purposes in Subnautica, besides being extremely cool. One is food, and that is indoor grow beds and food. Fern plants, Chinese potato, bulbo trees, water, and some of them can be even planted in your, spoiler alert, Cyclops, ensuring you can sustain yourself for long periods of time. Especially useful with bulbo trees because those have moderate food and high water content, so basically if you just have those in a single indoor grow bed, you're golden. Second use of farming would be for crafting. That means getting seeds, planting stuff in your outdoor garden can have great effects. Imagine growing your own bloodvine or deep shroom farm, saving you long trips to the blood kelp or lost river when you need to craft something really advanced like benzene, polyaniline or something like that. Also, you can, plant pretty much everything that you can get the seeds for also in the exterior grow beds, and it looks really cool. Also, it gets handy with the gel sacks, I believe it's called. If you need to make aerogel, it's quite handy to plant them as well in your outdoor or exterior grow beds. Where you will find the plans for exterior grow beds, I'm not gonna reveal just yet, but if you want to know, let me know in the comments below, I might reply. And finally, and tip number 10, is build fabricator, medkit, generator and indoor grow beds in every base and Cyclops as well. It is a little bit tedious to do, it's duplicate job, but I've seen actually so many YouTubers which go and deconstruct stuff, and then when they come to their base, oh shoot, I have my, fabricator in my Cyclops, so I need to actually go back there and pick up stuff, etc, etc. Mainly the guy who actually I saw was this latest playthrough of the Jacksepticeye, and I love that guy. He's really great in Subnautica. But that thing when you just forgot and deconstructed stuff, yeah, if you're trying to be cheap, you'll pay twice in the end. So, you really do not want to move between bases or just to craft things or have a quick snack. So guys, these are basically these 10 tips for beginners in Subnautica. If you like those tips, please do smash that like button. It helps me out a great deal, and connect with me on all the social media of your choice. Links are provided in the descriptions, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you very much for watching. This is GrunfWorks signing off.